Oh, hot and muggy here today in southern Ontario. Good day for a channel ramble. When we look at the history books and the Hollywoodization, if you will, of the settling of North America, I'll leave it to the North American continent. It's often stated the adventure-seeking pioneers who opened the unexplored western, blah blah. They romanticize it. The reality is, it was people driven by absolute desperation. Oh man, talk. Think about it. Let's say it's 1800. Just pick a date. 1700, 1800. You're going to pack up your family, leave your native lands, travel on foot, by oxen, on horseback, perhaps hundreds of miles, and then get on a boat, a wooden sailing vessel. Imagine what the conditions would be like for a journey of weeks, perhaps running into a couple of months, traveling the open ocean. Egads. Then land in a foreign land, far, far away, to travel hundreds, perhaps thousands of miles again, to find some place to homestead. Oh, they make that sound so friendly, homesteading. Can you imagine the hardships? I mean, really, try to imagine them. It's almost inconceivable to us in today's world. And what was the attrition rate? How many people actually made it from start to finish, let's say? What kind of desperation must have driven these people? Oh, I'm sure a few were after the adventure, but I don't think the most of them were. Do you really? Despite the fact our history books, and again our Hollywoodization of it all. The truth of the matter is, I would think, anyways, my opinion, more, again, driven by desperation. Seeing your grandparents and your parents, nothing but what we would now call a wage slave. The lands were owned by the kings and the barons and whatnot. The merchant class owned all traffic and trade, let's call it. You were resigned to being nothing but a serf, a working peasant, or what we would call today a wage slave. But there are no unexplored lands now, are there? And if we look, the rail strike is a good example. We see that much of our transportation is owned by the big outfits. Up pops Bill Gates, BlackRock, etc. The global elitists and the giant megacorps, I'll call them, mega corporations. Is there anything they don't own when it comes right down to it? All of the resources, I'll say mineral resources, land, farming, transportation, the list goes on and on. They own it all. It's taken them a long time to do it, but when you look around right now in today's world, take this striking CP rail. How much of it's publicly owned, diversified, as opposed to owned by a few megacorps and the captains of industry who own them? Just one example. The global elitists, they control the governments, they control the megacorps, they control the banking, they control the money. But we don't have any unexplored lands, no vast continents to run to. There's nowhere to run. What's the theme song of The Warriors, that movie from the mid-late 70s? Nowhere to run to, baby, nowhere to hide. We don't have any place to go. In summation, perhaps, if you're getting on in age and you're in a reasonable financial position, you can probably wend your days out in Costa Rica as an example. The WEF isn't really interested in Costa Rica. Tiny country, no real resources. Oh, not like, say, Canada, that they'd love to own all the resources, the infrastructure in place. Oh, wait. kind of looks like they do own Canada. What with the WEF, World Economic Forum penetration into our Trudeau government. Yeah, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. So the last time we saw the globalists owning most of the known world, that being the European continent by and large at the time, and what we now call the UK, Ireland, Scotland, etc. There's places for people to go. There isn't this time. There's no place to go. I wonder what will happen.